Welcome to GC365. Today is day 233. It's August 21st of the One Year Bible Reading Plan. My name is Emily. I work in the finance office here at Gold Creek, and my special guest is Shay. Shay, tell us your involvement with Gold Creek.
Well, I'm going to be an intern starting the 30th.
Nice.
So really soon.
Really soon. That's exciting. That's awesome.
It's a little intimidating.
Are you going to be in all the departments? Or do you have a
Middle
focus?
School.
Nice.
Middle school.
Awesome. All right. Well, today we have, in the Old Testament, we have Job chapters 1, 2, and 3. And this is a very interesting set of passages that we have today. Job was a rich and blameless man. He feared God. He kept all of his affairs in order. He was, protected by the Lord, and his family was well off. But he didn't live an easy life by any means. His story is kind of the epitome of the saying, like the question, why do bad things happen to good people? Because on all accounts, he seemed to be living this perfect life. And then we read this really interesting conversation between God and Satan. And I don't know about you, but I thought this conversation was really interesting because I normally think of God and Satan as two separate entities, separate beings, two competing forces, kind of, good versus evil type of thing. And I found it really captivating that Satan was so sure that if he tested Job, that Job would curse the Lord. And God was so sure of and confident in Job's faith that he told Satan, okay, you can test him. Like, how scary would that be? Just take the reins.
Terrifying.
You can test him however you want to. You just can't physically harm him or kill him.
I kept thinking of like the old cartoons of the angel and the devil on each shoulder. And I'm like, I guess that kind of happened in real life.
Yeah,
but a long time ago.
Yes. But it kind of got me thinking, does the Lord allow us to be tested today? And I think he does. And there's kind of a mantra where people say, God doesn't give us more than we can handle. And I read or I listened to a video by author and speaker Jeff Bethke, and he was talking about how he disagrees with this statement that he thinks God does give us more than we think we have the capacity to deal with, because it forces us to rely on God and, put our faith in him, and it strengthens our faith in him when we're relying on God. So it kind of reminded me about Job's story here and how through all these hardships, the thing to do would be to rely on God here. But what's interesting is we were talking about in Job 1 and 2, we don't see that. He doesn't cry out to God. He doesn't necessarily curse God, but he praises God, but he doesn't ask God for help.
But he doesn't question, like, God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to fix this? Can you help me? And he praises God in the trials, but he also doesn't lean on God's understanding and love and grace to be able to kind of overcome this. So all of these trials are continuing to happen and then getting worse and worse. He lost all of his animals and livestock, and then lost all of his children, and then painful sores. And it's just, you have painful sores all over your body. You lost all your children all at once. Yeah. And yet you're still praising God. So I'm questioning, like, I know I would be angry at the world if I lost my child.
Right.
But he still praised. Yeah. He didn't curse God. He ended up cursing his own birth, but that does nothing.
Yeah. I know, that was really interesting. So in Job 1, Satan said, surely Job will curse you if you do all these things to him. But then in Job 3, after his friends had come to him, they were just all silent, trying to process and grieve together. Like, there were no words to describe the grief that they were feeling. Job finally speaks out, but he curses the day of his birth, not even cursing God.
Yeah, his wife was saying, why don't you just curse God?
And he's to make it stop.
No, that is just the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, which is impressive.
Yeah.
So then we move into the New Testament, and we have 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 1 through 17. And this chapter talks about the gifts of prophecy and speaking in tongues. And I've personally never heard anybody speak in tongues. I think it would be really powerful to be able to physically, see and hear the Spirit moving through somebody speaking in tongues. Have you ever heard somebody?
Yeah, I grew up in California, and there was one church where we went to that they did, and I'll be honest, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they okay? Are they convulsing?
Yeah.
Do we need to call the doctor? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then someone's like, oh, they're speaking in tongues. And then I learned more about it. And it's like, if you speak in tongues and you're not able to translate what those tongues are, you're glorifying yourself, not glorifying God.
Right.
And so I think that's deeper into this book. So I definitely suggest kind of just reading that entire book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of
confusing.
It's one of the hardest ones to understand in the Bible.
Yeah. Especially because it's not a normal thing it's not like every worship service.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a normal. It's normal, but it's not a kind of common thing that you see every day and in every single church.
Yeah. I highlighted in verse 9 when it says, if you speak to people in words they don't understand, how will they know what you are saying? You might as well be talking into empty space. And it's talking about different languages in the world and how every language has meaning. And I personally relate to this very strongly because at the end of July, I went on the Mexico mission trip with the high school team. And there is quite a language barrier for the kids that are in Mexico. They don't know a lot of English at all. And my 2 years of introductory high school Spanish don't do much for me down there. So it is very frustrating to try to communicate through charades or, broken Spanish and English. But it was kind of a reminder that we want to convey, God's love and our love for these kids down there. And so we show it through our actions because that's something that everybody can understand. And that's more universal than the physical language barrier of words. So I just thought that was
I have that same relation just talking with my grandparents because they immigrated straight from the Czech Republic and Czechoslovakia back when it was a separated country.
Yeah.
And so my grandmother doesn't speak very good English at all.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather speaks a few languages. So it's like his understanding is much better, but definitely kind of gets mixed up. So it's a little hard. And I'm like, what were you saying? But it also makes it hard even speaking to someone who's hard of hearing because they can oftentimes read your lips, but it's not necessarily what's being said.
Right. It's still hard to convey. And then in Psalms, we are in Psalm 37. I highlighted verse 16 and 17 here because this also ties back to Job's story, which I thought was awesome. It says, it's better to be godly and have little than to be evil and rich. For the strength of the wicked will be shattered, but the Lord takes care of the godly. So in all of Job's testing, there's still the assurance that the Lord takes care of the godly. And it's better to be humble and have little possessions than to be evil and rich and sinning. So I thought that was a cool connection there.
Oh, yeah. It's funny that you did 17 and 18. I highlighted 19, which is in times of disaster, they will not wither. In days of famine, they will enjoy plenty, which is like, how do we enjoy life with having nothing?
Yeah.
And how did Job just continue to praise God, yet he's going through this extreme turmoil and extreme just one bad thing after another and just still praising God. Yeah. It's like you lean on God, and it's just like when we did our small group of 1st and 2nd Timothy and then also doing John and learning the I am statements. It's like, if all I have is God and all I have is my Bible, which is his love letter to us, then I have everything I ever need.
That's cool. And then finish out with Proverbs 21. And this is, again, kind of an encouragement for the godly, that they love to give instead of being greedy for more. So that one was short and sweet. And with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you are sticking with the readings and staying caught up throughout the summer, and we'll see you tomorrow.